Hi, everyone, and welcome to Unsupervised Consequences, Day 22. I'm your host, Dino the Genetic Marvel. I'm documenting my journey of going from, I guess you would say, gigantic human being. I was over 450 pounds to, I guess, changing the direction of my life. I weighed under, I weighed 279.8 pounds, so just shy of 280. And this is kind of my story. So every day I'm documenting different challenges or thoughts that I have with regards to how that journey has gone, how it's changed my life, and essentially how I've overcome all sorts of roadblocks that have come in my way. So up until recently, I had been, of course, fighting with my weight for my whole life. Um, I was up to about 400. I was over 450 pounds. I may have been as high as 500 pounds. I don't know 100%. But in doing that, that was before the pandemic. During the pandemic, I did lose some weight. I got down to about 360 pounds. I went back up to 400, uh, and that was under medical supervision. And then in October, I was 400 pounds, and I've lost 120 pounds in the last 9 months. So that has been what's going on. So up until now, I've been talking about different challenges that I've had and how I've been trying to navigate them as well as best as possible. In my previous series, which is Where Did the Rest of Me Go, I discussed what I did with regards to changing my mindset, my understanding, my perspective, and that's been a journey of my entire life. And then, of course, I discussed food and fasting and how it's affected me. And this past week, I actually completed 5 full days, so it was 121 hours of fasting. And this is day two uh, of eating normal, I guess you could say. And I'm still feeling good. So today, we were going to talk about celebrating progress. One of the difficult things with um, weight loss, weight gain, all these kind of things that factor in, because there's a certain emotional component to everything. There's an emotional there's a lot of phases that you go through, right? Trainer is amazing. And no murder. So that's always good. That was the key component there. But that being said, one of the um, real issues was that understanding how the mind works is important, right? We have an environment or a culture that's been created that celebrates mediocrity and praises very peculiar achievements in life. Um, there is something to be said about that, which I won't talk about here because it will probably it'll distract from the point of view. But the idea is that if you are trying to reach a goal, a lot of people, I'm sure we've heard the colloquial statement is that, if you shoot for the stars and you hit the moon, still a success, or maybe that's reversed. I'm not sure. But the whole idea is that we have to accept what progress we make. We have to accept the stages in our journey. Sometimes it's delayed. For myself, I came back from vacation and I was 16 pounds heavier than when I left. And I know exactly where it was. I ate myself silly. It was extremely indulgent. It was vacation. We had a great time. We did a lot of, I even exercised a few times while on there. I felt fantastic. But by the time I came home, I was eager to get back to my training and fasting and everything. And sure enough, I did. And I was hoping that in 14 days I would be uh, back. And things life got a little bit busy, and I wasn't able to fast as much as I was, and so on and so forth. So I didn't hit there. But now I've actually surpassed that goal because when I left the country originally, I was 289 pounds, 289.4, and now I'm sitting at 279.8. So I haven't just passed it; I've surpassed the goal. And here's the hard part is when you're fighting with something where your entire life, the celebratory event has been a meal of indulgence. That's been consistently what it's been. So, in turn, How do you celebrate in a situation like that? It's a very unique uh, set of issues that are only encountered by someone that's going through this experience. People who are fighting with their weight or even mental health, like all those things, right? Your reward um is has become your demon, right? And that's and think about it, and you can relate it to everything, right? Because drug use, indulgence of the flesh, food, violence, any number of things. And that's the hard part is because right from the get-go, I realized that I had my biggest problem was my relationship with food itself. And my uh, upbringing in a European household, because I'm of Greek lineage, both my parents migrated to Canada and they met here. And in that, what that meant was that we were in a situation that resulted where one of the key components to our existence was we would have breakfast together, we would have dinner together, we would spend time as a family, and we would get together. And that was the key component were those events. So the idea of uh, even the workday, because my dad had his own business, we all worked together. I was the only one who didn't end up working there. But the idea was that you would start in a position where we would start the day off eating together, and that was kind of the call to labor, and then we would work all day, come home, eat, and that was the call to rest. Between those times, you know, there was a lot of intense activity, and then afterward, we would practice. We would go to church. We would do all sorts of things, and it was a very tight knit unit. So my entire life, the event has been the food. The structure is provided by the meals, right? And now I'm eating maybe in a 2 hour window, maybe one meal a day. Uh, Today we wanted to celebrate a little bit because it's our anniversary tomorrow, so we're kind of in the mood to celebrate. So we had our meal, and then a couple hours later we just had some popcorn and some chips and salsa, and you're going, yeah, that's not number one, it's not a real treat, but it was very enjoyable for us. Um, and that idea of navigating how to reward yourself and how to celebrate is one of the key components to this experience is that we want to indulge in whatever it is that is our crippling thing. For me it's food and among other things. Let's just leave it there, right? But that idea of how we reward ourselves is something that we have to stay focused on because let's be honest, is that you can go one way and fall back into your bad habits, or you can go the other way, which is also extreme, and you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do anything, and that's how I'm going to treat myself. And you're like, that's not treating yourself either, right? We have to find that center ground because every time that life has been out of balance, and I know a lot of people can attest to this, but every time our life's out of balance, we'll know. We don't want to acknowledge it. And when others may point it out, you don't know what you're talking. It's fair. That's a real experience. I can definitely attest to that being factual for myself. And I'm sure I've seen it in other people where I have a friend who he was really suffering with alcoholism, and it's been multiple times. And right now, he's doing great, and I'm so happy for him. At the same time, uh, I'll be there to support him whether he succeeds or fails. That's what friendship is. That's the hard part. And a lot of the time, I remember in recent travels, I was staying with a family, and one of the children in the family had been gaining weight, and they were like, "Oh, well, it's their diet. They're doing all this bad stuff." And then they were like, "Well, how did you lose weight?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, you don't. That's not nice. What you guys are doing, because it's not right." Like, and I just thought, "Oh, well, I do. It's different for me." Because after all is said and done, uh, like any problem, people will talk about it, and they will try and mm, categorize it, explain it away. Well, it's like that thing. And it's everyone's personal journey, right? And that's not to say that you can't help or shouldn't help or anything like that. It's more so just if you have an understanding of what they're going through, what people need and what people desire in this universe, which I really believe is that unconditional love. Um, like when I hear about people whose parents were horrible to them, I'm like, I can't comprehend why you would bring a child into this world and then not love it unconditionally. It's weird. Um, and the funny thing is, I always thought that my life was hard. It wasn't. My life was fantastic, especially growing up. Even now, man, my life is fantastic, and I still am a screw up, right? So it has nothing to do um, with trying to assign blame. It's about how to assign support, how to assign. Hey, Serge, how you doing, buddy? Glad you could come out. But so yeah, celebrating progress is one of those things that I guess you would call it a slippery slope because we all want to enjoy it. Because who doesn't want to celebrate an achievement? And the key there is that understanding what the celebration is and how we reward ourselves is a key factor in not derailing our progress. Like today, me and my wife are bad influences on each other constantly. Part of the reason why we love each other. And the first thought was well, maybe we can have dessert as a celebratory thing, right? I said, no, we can't. I go, how about we do? And she was kind enough to say, suggest popcorn. And I said, how about chips and salsa? Uh, mix in with some Greek yogurt. Right? It doesn't sound like a treat, but it was a treat. It was very nice. It was very enjoyable, and I loved it personally. And I'm sure she loved the popcorn. It was fantastic. But that idea, that concept of having some sort of balance with regards to our indulgence made our reward that much more enjoyable. So I think I'm going to leave it there, but keep focusing on the idea of what it is we're celebrating. And that way our progress becomes the focus. And when we meet it with a balanced perspective, it's very simple to keep it from derailing us off our target, but rather reinforcing our plan and our progress. So, my name is Dino the Genetic Marvel. I'm everywhere. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you feel that this was something that you had found beneficial, I am trying to do this on a daily basis. So, please share it with your friends, and I would greatly appreciate that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll do my best. I answer everything myself. It's not going to be anybody else, but I'll do my best to answer and provide any information you have. So, hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great evening.